Thor versus Dr. Fate. Who wins? The Asgardian God of Thunder is squaring off against a Lord of Order. Who's coming out on top here? Well, let's find out. Thor, the God of Thunder, King of Asgard, founding Avenger. Beautiful hair and bulging biceps.
I am the God of Thunder!
Wow. He grew up in the palaces of Asgard as royalty, becoming a pompous and arrogant prince. Loved a good fight, and would seek out violence without thinking anything through. And he ended up accidentally nearly restarting an ancient war between Asgard and Jotunheim. Not a great look. Thor was denied the right to become king. He was stripped of his power and lost his hammer Mjolnir and banished to Earth. There he'd have to learn to become worthy once more, and from there really relearn what worthiness means altogether. Being a literal god, having that divine alien blood just coursing through his veins.
What do you think is coursing through my veins right now?
Cheese whiz?
Well, Thor obviously has some godly powers. He's crazy strong. I mean, let's talk about this. The time where Thor restarted the forge on Nidavellir. So in order to do this, Thor takes rockets in his little space pod and just starts spinning, and then he throws it, just like he used to throw Mjolnir. And when he hits the edge of the ring, well, he's stopped. The pod is still pulling though, and so that means by Newton's third law that Thor is having to exert the same amount of force to make sure that he doesn't get pulled off.
Pull me off the...
Oh my god, Emma pulled you off.
So while the pod technically moved the rings, Thor countered it by exerting the same amount of force, meaning that Thor moved the same weight. And just how big is Nidavellir? How big are these rings? Massive! Nidavellir is the same size as a small moon. That comes from the Greg Steele, the VFX supervisor for this scene. He's the guy who designed Nidavellir. So yeah, I think he knows what he's talking about when he says how big it is. Thor is strong enough to move a small moon. And we can still see all that strength when he throws a punch or when he starts swinging Stormbreaker around. I mean, let's just take a look at stuff like destroying the Rainbow Bridge and destroying Sokovia. Thor was cracking and shattering apart the Rainbow Bridge with some truly just devastating hits. Hits that were making the Bifrost Observatory feel like an earthquake, actually shaking all of Asgard. That's insanely impressive. Then there's Sokovia, and while Thor just annihilated that city, releasing a multi-city block shockwave with one hit. He neutralized Sokovia's kinetic energy and countered it, and all in all, this just comes out to a city-level feat, which I mean, does make sense. Thor was literally destroying a whole city with one hit. And Thor isn't just out here destroying cities or moving small moons. He's not all just big, huge muscles.
That's power. The brain is a muscle, and that's a muscle, and that's a muscle. They are all muscles, this is all muscle.
He can take a whole lot of attacks too. Like, a whole lot of attacks. Like Nidavellir. Probably the most impressive thing any hero has done in the MCU so far. So what exactly is going on here?
You understand, boy? You're about to take the full force of a star. It'll kill you.
Well, Nidavellir is actually a neutron star, which has a quarter of the sun's luminosity. But here's the thing, you can't say that Thor was taking all of the star's power. He was actually just taking all the energy that was hitting him directly. He was also only withstanding it for a little while, roughly 47 seconds, before he collapsed and was knocked out and was sent flying away. So what's all this mean? Well, track with me here. The largest nuclear bomb ever detonated was a 50 megaton explosion, or 50 million tons of TNT. Thor taking the neutron star is equivalent to him surviving the largest man-made nuclear explosion every 100th of a second for 47 seconds straight, or surviving this explosion for 4,000 times, back to back to back to back to back, just over and over and over again. That's what Thor did here, which is just absolutely insane. However, he was knocked out. He clearly has his limits, even within this absolutely crazy showing. But it's also Thor on his very, very best day. I mean, the Russo brothers have said before that the only reason that Thor survived the neutron star was because he was that determined to kill Thanos. Normally, he couldn't survive as well against something like that. But if that's his upper limits, if that's Thor at his absolute best, well then his absolute best is truly insane. Kinda puts Superman's one nuclear bomb to shame. And it doesn't just stop there. It's not just strength and durability. Thor has plenty of other powers too. I mean, like his lightning, it can kill Chitauri Leviathans, it can help melt vibranium. He can throw lightning out absolutely all around him, send Hulk flying, send Thanos flying, and all this is just really scratching the surface. I mean, the guy is creating massive storms all around him in an instant. But it's really when he combines his lightning and Mjolnir or Stormbreaker. That's when he's at his absolute best. And when he does that, well, the dude almost took out all of Jotunheim. Seriously, I'm not kidding. It was shaking the whole planet, cracking the ice layer of the ice world, and formed a giant canyon that dropped out to the depths of space. And it's not just that, because Thor actually created a canyon that was roughly 100 times the size of the Grand Canyon, the grandest of all canyons. The director even said that Thor had broke the floor of the planet apart with just one hit, with just one lightning blast.
The damage that Thor has done, which is essentially breaking the very floor of the planet up.
That's not even the strongest lightning bolt that Thor has ever created. Nah, he saved that one specifically for his sister. I mean, it completely consumed the palace, which is already like the same size as mountains. So pretty freaking impressive. Kent Nelson is one of the founding members of the Justice Society, and when he puts on the mystical helmet of fate, well, he can transform into the magical sorcerer Dr. Fate, servant of the Lords of Order. After living in isolation for many years in the Tower of Fate, looking for inner peace, Fate received a vision of Black Adam killing all the Justice Society. So Fate rejoined the team to go and stop Black Adam, determined to not let his vision of the future become a reality. Using the Helmet of Fate, Kent Nelson is able to receive immense magical powers from Naboo, a Lord of Order, a being who's millions of years old, and he can now defend the world from magical threats as Dr. Fate. And he's been practicing magic for 100 years. So by this point, he definitely knows what he's doing. He can teleport in an instant, traveling anywhere that he wants. And he can also project his astral form from his body, sending it to talk to Black Adam in China, or freeing Black Adam from the Argus prison in Russia, all while he's still in Kahndaq. He can create massive and detailed illusions, fire out beams and bolts of magical energy, and create energy constructs, like when he was able to pierce through Black Adam and seriously hurt him. Dr. Fate is also able to create energy shields, and some seriously powerful ones at that. They can block attacks from Black Adam, even block the big giant explosions that he gets when he's a bit too angry. And these are almost passive shields as well. Dr. Fate created a shield that was powerful enough to hold back the other members of the JSA and keep that shield up all while he was still fighting Sabak and freeing Black Adam at the same time. Dr. Fate also loves to duplicate and create clone copies of himself, who basically have all the same abilities but are just made out of like crystals. And these clones are powerful enough to hold back Black Adam and hold back Sabak. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, when it comes to a fight, well, both of these heroes are real prone to just run in there and start blasting. Thor and his lightning, and Dr. Fate and his clones and energy blast. Which is kind of funny because Dr. Fate is the world's greatest sorcerer with nearly god-like magic, and he mostly fights with clones and bull rushing an opponent. But you know what? It usually works out for him. Like, him and his clones were able to fight against Black Adam and fight against Sabak. So Black Adam, the guy empowered by 6 powerful gods and was being set up to be an equal to Superman himself. And then Sabak, the champion of all demons, and was on an equal to Black Adam, and so maybe would even be an equal to Superman as well. And Dr. Fate was able to use his clones to physically fight against both of them. And you know what? I don't think that matters. Thor still so way outclasses Fate physically that he should be able to easily wreck his clone copies no problem. I mean, Thor can fight against Thanos, one of the only heroes who's able to do that. He could fight against overpowered Hulk. Heck, Thor was able to move the rings in a Devalier and hold open the Forge's eye in the middle of a star. No other hero has ever done anything remotely comparable to that. No hero has ever shown they're that strong. Not even Superman or Black Adam. And if Teth Adam can already bust up Fate's clone constructs, well then Thor is going to be able to do it too. Not even to mention, it looks like lightning is a hard counter for Dr. Fate's clones. Each time Black Adam released a blast of lightning, well, the clone was destroyed. Thor should be able to do the exact same thing, if not, even easier. And there goes Dr. Fate's main method of attack. He loves throwing those clones out there at the start of fights. Thor will be able to destroy them just as quickly as he can form them. So that really leaves Fate's energy projections and constructs, which again won't be able to stop Thor. Thor survived cities exploding, blasting the Power Stone. He stood and took the full force of a neutron star for a minute straight. Fate's energy blast aren't going to be enough to put him down. And then with his constructs, while they have been able to injure Black Adam, so they should be able to injure Thor too, Thor is more than strong enough to just power his way out of them, just like Teth Adam and Sabak did. Basically what I'm trying to say is that pretty much all of Dr. Fate's attacks aren't going to be powerful enough to actually put Thor down. Meanwhile, Thor is already stronger than Black Adam, and with Stormbreaker or Mjolnir by his side, he's able to unleash some truly devastating attacks. I mean, he's destroyed cities. He's even destroyed parts of a whole planet with just a strike. And Fate doesn't have near the durability to stand up to those attacks. I mean, he was starting to get dominated by Black Adam in their fight. He was straight up killed by Sabak after a few minutes. Fate has never shown the kind of durability that you need to survive an extended fight with the God of Thunder. Now, Dr. Fate will definitely go out swinging. His shields will be able to block some of Thor's lightning. He can teleport around throughout the fight. He might even be able to cast an illusion or two. But none of it is going to be enough. Even for being a Lord of Order, Dr. Fate never showed the kind of raw power that it requires to take down the God of Thunder. And for being a master sorcerer, he also never showed off the kind of magical versatility or range that would also allow him to take down Thor. Meanwhile, Thor has more than enough power to destroy his clones and constructs, break through his shields, and knock him out, taking him down. Thor wins. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.